I've coached the Connecticut Rush Boys 04 Elite for over 4 years now, since they were U12, since we first started the Elite program. And it's been a successful team. It's a talented team, super committed team. You know, they've been in State Cup. 2019 was their third year, and they ended up winning it 3 years in a row. So teams have had some success, whether tournament, league, and State Cup. You know, I've been fortunate to coach such a talented group. We have players from 12 different towns on that team, so it's really the top talent in Connecticut that come from all over. So it's been a great pleasure to be able to work with those boys. But you know, I think going into the State Cup final, I think the third year in a row was a special experience. I think for these guys that they learned a lot, and it wasn't as easy as it was in the past. Yeah, so we played a 4-3-3. So we had a goalie, 2 center backs. We like to attack with their full backs, 1 defensive mid, 2 attacking mids, and 3 players up top that stayed up pretty much the entire game. So we've played Shoreline FC quite a few times before. We actually played them the year before in the State Cup final. So we were aware of how they were going to set up. We also played them in a scrimmage in the winter before State Cup. I had some information in terms of how they set up, and the way they played was a 4-2-3-1. They did sit in a low block, 2 defensive mids, 1 attacking mid, 2 wide players, and a center forward. So, you know, they pretty much, their confrontation line was pretty low, and they sit in a low block. So they defended really with 11 players, and they attacked with 4. So we were very aware, and we had a plan on how to defend that, how to attack that, and that's part of the reason why we went with 2 attacking mids. You know, normally I will have a center mid that's floating between the 2, but we went with 2 attacking mids, and we wanted to get numbers in the final third to try and play in those tight spaces, try to play between the lines, and to try and exploit those 2v1s. So when we had the ball, a lot of times in that game, we had majority of the possession, and we were on their half. I would say we had maybe about 60-70% possession. And the way we set up was we knew they were going to sit in a low block, so we had to get a good idea of finding the spaces between the lines. We knew they were going to be compact. So some of the specific tactics we want to attack with our fullback, and that's a vital role. We have fullbacks that are versatile, that have speed, they have the stamina, that can go up and down. So it's really important that we have our fullbacks join the attack, and we want to be able to pull their wide players back. So a lot of times the fullbacks will go forward, pull their wide players. Same thing in this situation. And what would happen here is their attacking mid would drop in and sit right on front of their 2 defensive mids. So we always had a 2v1. And the idea was we always wanted to control the game, so always have a 2v1 in this situation. So when we're defending, 1 was marking, 1 was covering, and we had that sorted. In this situation, you know, we knew that they were going to be too congested. It was going to be hard for them to play out. We had numbers in the final third, so as soon as we win it, the idea is to try and attack. If we lost the ball, immediate pressure. We knew they were going to look for the outlet, so we had to deal with the center forward and try to take away any counter. When they did counter, and they were pretty successful at times when they did counter, often their forward made those runs out wide, pulled one of our center backs, we got the cover, and then they were attacking with the wide players and the 1 attacking mid. So the next and most important part to that was how quickly do we recover. We knew that was going to happen, and when that does happen, how quickly can we recover with our fullbacks? Can our fullbacks make sure we're getting behind the ball immediately, not letting their wide player get in front of us? And then how quickly can our defensive mid get behind the ball? So in this situation, even if they attacked with 4, we still always had that +1 at all times, and it was important that our 2 attacking mids always filled in the space in behind. So if they did go long, we're winning the first ball, but we're also looking to win the second ball. So these guys played a vital role in transition and balancing and filling the space. Yeah. Well, there's a lot that went into it. So we've, I think this team in particular has been successful in the past. Going into this third final, State Cup final, I sensed the pressure, and I sensed the pressure a little bit a few weeks ago. And I sensed it. I think, maybe it comes a little bit from the coach, it comes a little bit from the players because they're competitive, maybe it comes from the parents, it comes from an environment. So I think that created a little bit of drama, number one. The second part of that is we went to FC Delco the week before. So Memorial Weekend we're at FC Delco, and it's great, we were in the final, but we ended up picking up some injuries in those games with some key players that normally play majority of the game for us. So, there was certainly, from a coach's perspective, I had to make some adjustments. There were certain players moved around in places and positions that they normally wouldn't be. And because of that, it definitely didn't give us maybe the consistency and continuity that we always had. There were some players move around. Part of that drama was we were missing one of our center backs, which was Jaden. He was out for the game, had a bad injury, and he played, a big portion. He's one of our leaders. Liam, who's our left fullback, he played majority of the game, and we attack a lot in those wing back positions, so he played a vital role for us. So early in the game, he played 10-15 minutes. I had to pull him out with the intent to try to get him in the second half to try and keep him fresh because he had a bad ankle sprain. In addition to the other injuries, we were also missing Ali, who's a right winger. He normally played left to right winger, also alternated at that center forward position. He hurt his shoulder at FC Delco the week before. And then our left forward, Patrick, he had a pulled hamstring, and he pushed through it. He ended up playing through it. He couldn't really sprint. So he normally plays out on the left side, but we ended up, first half, same thing. He played 10 minutes. We had to pull him back out to make sure that he was ready for the second half. We wanted to give him a go and see how the injury would do. We pulled him out, and then he went back in the second half. But, and there was players that had to jump in and fill these positions and played an incredible role for us in these situations. And the drama in the game, there was a lot of drama behind the game that we had to plan and adjust for. But the drama in the game was, we were in good control of the game. They ended up getting a free kick, maybe 20-30 yards from the top of the box. We ended up winning the header. Unfortunately, it skimmed off the defender's head and it went into our own goal. So about 17 minutes in, we find ourselves down 1-0, which is unlikely for this team. So certainly they had to dig deep and find a way to overcome that. Yeah, it was something I had to think about, because when the boys came off, they had this look of almost defeat, which I haven't seen before. I think there was a lot the week before going to a tournament, definitely some tired legs, the injuries, and they knew that they were probably the better half in that game. And giving their own goal sometimes it hurts a little bit, the momentum and the energy. So coming off, I sensed that, and my halftime was be positive, get these guys to believe, that they are the better team, that they can win this game, and they've got another 40 minutes, to go. So it was really positive. It was just trying to also having some individual conversations with players and trying to find ways to get them ticking. So some general tactics, but it was just to bring that positivity back, and we had to make some adjustments. Credit to the opponent. They set up well, and I'm sure just as much as we knew them, they knew about us. So they set up in a good shape to defend us. So we had to make some adjustments in the second half, and part of the adjustments were our center forward, Steve. He played center forward. He always plays center forward for us. And in that game, we just weren't getting the ball up top enough. And they did have two physical center backs. that we're able to keep up and maintain that. And the fact that we had, Patrick, who normally plays left for us, left winger, he couldn't move the way we wanted to, especially second half. So we made a switch to put Patrick up top at 9, and then Steve out wide. And Steve has a lot of pace and can get in behind. And Patrick, in that situation, we adjusted to a false 9. He couldn't get in behind, so it was more, can you find the ball, receive the ball between the lines, turn, combine, and then can we get our wingers forward? That was one adjustment we made. The second adjustment we made was starting to time our runs with the fullbacks. And ideally we wanted to try to play a little cat and mouse game with their wingers and our fullbacks. So I was having both wingbacks go high and go early to try and create a 2v1, so it's easy to stop the counter. So what would happen is if the ball's on the right side, we wanted our winger to start shifting inside to pull their fullback to create that overlap and run. And that's how the goal, started. That's how the game-winning goal came, is because of our left wing back, and we were able to combine on the right side and complete the switch. Yeah, so that was, a very important tactic that ended up working well, because both goals came and started from the wide areas. The first goal that we got in the second half started from the right side combination, and then our attacking mids, or both our attacking mids, were inside the box and ended up having an open shot, and that was the game-tying goal. And then same thing with the second goal. It started on the right side. We ended up winning it, combining it. Our attacking mid got the ball. Our left winger had inverted in the middle, which pulled their right back, and they were all shifted on one side, and that allowed room for our left back to get forward and get the game-winning goal. So, the boys reacted and adjusted well to the tactics, but I think in those games too, is as much as it is tactics, it's about dealing with the pressure and being able to have the confidence to overcome that. Yeah, this is, sometimes it's excitement, sometimes it's joy, sometimes it's relief. I think in this situation, the boys knew with the injuries and what they've gone through. For me, it was definitely excitement, but it was more so relief, because we knew, I think we're the better team, and you're going into these games sometimes as a coach, you go in knowing that you should win and you could win this game. So sometimes it can be excitement. Maybe if you're the underdog in this situation, it almost felt a little bit like relief, and we felt that second goal coming. We felt that second goal coming in, especially after we tied it. We built that momentum, and when we got it, and I think you see in the boys' faces, it was like that sigh of relief. But then, there was 2 minutes left in the game, and you can tell that everybody was switched on and ready to go.